Hello everyone, I am Genevieve Gasis, and in this presentation, we're gonna discuss community interaction that exists within the ecological world. So before we will start the topic, let us define first what is community. So community is an assemblage of different organisms occupying the same habitat or a particular area and is the living part of the organisms in an organized unit with definite functions and compositions of various species and sizes. So community is a collection and interacting population of all living species within a certain area. So I have here two pictures that shows the land and the ocean. This picture example of community. All the life you could find in the land such as plant, animal, insects, and other makes up a community. And in the ocean, all the fish, all the corals makes up a community also. So at this moment, we will proceed now to our main topic, which is the community interactions. So there are three community interactions that we are going to discuss. These are action, reaction, and coaction. The first one is action. It is the environmental acts upon the organism of the community, in many ways including all effects of temperature, wind, light, humidity, soil moisture, and others on the community. So, it means that organism is influenced by the environment in many ways. The next one is reaction. It is the any effect contributed by the organism upon their physical environment. Third is coaction. It can be viewed in terms of interaction and effects attributed by one organisms. So there are 8 terms of interaction under coaction. The first one is predation, a biological interaction in which organism is destroyed or consumed usually by bigger organism. So predation is the preying of one animal on other. It occurs when one species eats another. So in predation, there's a predator and a prey involved. The predator is the one that eats other species, while the prey is the one who is being eaten. Next is parasitism, a biological interaction in which organism is destroyed or consumed, usually by small organism. So one example of parasitism is a tick, or commonly known as garrapata, like what we saw in the picture. This parasite lives on another organism, causes harm, and utilizes as habitat, depends on for resource acquisition. Next is competition, a biological reaction in which organisms decline in growth or succeed because of insufficient supply of some necessary factors. So competition is an interaction between organism or species in which both require a resource that is in limited supply. So example of this is two lions fighting for status within a pride and a fighting over a piece of meat. So there are two types of competition, namely is intra-specific competition and inter-specific competition. The first one is intra-specific competition. It is a type of competition confined among individuals of same species. So it is a competition for resources between members of the same species, and it occurs between individuals with similar adaptations. Second is the inter-specific competition, a type of competition that occurs in different species. So inter-specific competition is a form of competition between different species inhabiting the same ecological area. So another term of coaction is commensalism, a biological interaction in which organism is benefited by another organism. So this is the type of relationship between two living organisms in which one organism benefits from the other without harming it. A commensal species benefits from another species by shelter, food, or support from host species. Next is amensalism, a biological reaction in which one organism is inhibited by another organism. So, amensalism is an interaction where one species causes harm to another organism without any cost or benefits to itself. Example of this is a mushroom that we can see in the picture. A mushroom who grows in the tree. The mushroom cause harms to a tree because it attacked the tree roots and caused them to decay, eventually killing the roots entirely. Next is mutualism, a biological interaction in which both organisms are essential or intimate with each other and that the relationship is not obligatory. So, it is an interaction where individuals of different species both benefit from their interaction. Example of this is a flower and a bee. Flowers provide bees with nectar and pollen, while bees help flowers to reproduce by spreading its pollen. Next is protocooperation, a biological interaction in which both organisms are intimate with each other but obligatory. So this is an interaction where two species interact with each other beneficially. They have no need to interact with each other. They interact purely for the gain that they receive from doing this. And lastly is mutualism, a biological interaction in which both organisms remain unaffected or neutral. So, these interactions may have effects on the species populations. In mutualism, interactions are incidental or indirect and are said to not have an effect on either population. So, this ends on my report and thank you for listening.